यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Ashatra Systematic Divine Grace of Chaitanya Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Gaura Parimanandi All glorious assembled devotees All glorious assembled devotees All glorious assembled devotees All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Great pleasure to again be in the midst of Shri Radha Neela Madhav and their lordships and the family of the Lord's devotees in this beautiful temple of Seattle. Hare Krishna. So I believe all of you have been feasting a lot on a healthy, sumptuous diet of Ramayana Katha for the last several days. And that is to your good fortune. You had such exalted speakers coming and elaborating the various dimensions of Ramayana. And that is so very nourishing to our hearts. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, our worshipable founder Acharya, always stressed that ISKCON is a cultural movement. We will create a revolution in the world by means of a cultural conquest. So, while we are on one side with our 1 year, we are hearing the Katha of the Lord, the other year has to see also how we can live a life, what we call as a lifestyle, how to live a culture of a Vaishnava. Because Vaishnava is not an ordinary thing. He's a very special person, right? And therefore, even though much of our culture is based on what we do in the temple, but that should lead to an overall growth of our Vaishnava traits, Vaishnava personality, Vaishnava behavior, Vaishnava thought process, in an overall manner, what you call as a holistic development, right? So today's seminar is more towards incorporating the teachings of Ramayana Mahabharata, right? And adapting them into a life of relevancy in a Dainandin life, Vyavaharik life, day-to-day life, right? So, all that we know in our movement is based on the teachings of the Shara Goswamis. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunam. And what they did? Sad Dharma, eternal religion of the soul, Samsthapakau, established. Of the Goswamis, Rupa Goswami is very special. Therefore, we are called as Rupa Anugas. Of all the books he wrote, there are many books he wrote, several books, but His Divine Grace thought some books of his were even more relevant than the others for sadhakas like you and me. So he glorified the book called as Upadesh Amrita, right? Nectar of instruction. In that book, there are several verses. I believe there are 12 verses, right? And that the first verse is the beginning of Vaishnava culture. In the first word of the first verse, what is that? Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jiva vegam udarapasta vegam then itan vegam so ishada dhira sarvapimam prithvimsa sishyat. So the first word which struck the heart of our founder Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnavism was Vacho Vegam. And that in itself is powerful proof that Acharya he could have thought of so many things as relevant to Vaishnava lifestyle, but first thing he thought was how to live a lifestyle based on the use of our tongue. So between today and tomorrow, we hope to bring out some principles which should be relevant in a practical manner for this purpose. So, the discussion is tongue. You have a slide? Oh, yeah, here also. Okay, so you all can see both sides. Tongue mightier than the sword. You are seeing the picture. Is there a tongue there? Tongue is like a blade. And what is dripping from the blade? Tomato ketchup is dripping. It is not sauce, it is blood. That means the tongue has the power to draw blood. Right? So we'll elaborate and see how that is useful for us. So we see on the right side this picture of this very over healthy person. It's extra healthy. And that is because of what? The tongue. Right? So one of the biggest problems in the world today is obesity. They said about 25% of the people in the world are already obese. And obesity, there's very levels are there. BMI, so and so. So, the BMI above 40 is like really bad obese. Morbid obesity, they call it. Obesity, right? On the other side, you see this sword fight, right? The sword has the power to wound people and cut bodies, right? But there is something within our own body which is sharper than the tongue, sharper than the sword. What is that? Our tongue, right? So it can cut people, it may not kill them, but wound them so badly that they're almost dead. Right? So that is the power of the tongue doesn't look sharp, right? The tongue is quite blunt, but the power to really penetrate deep. Okay? So that is the power of the tongue. Next one. So, of course, to start with our basic understanding, we are looking for happiness. That doesn't need to be explained. We're all happiness seekers. Anandamayo Vyasat. Right? From the small bacteria to the demigods in the heavenly planets, everyone looking for only one thing. Right? Happiness. Right? And you can get happiness from two things, two avenues. One is from things. A nice car, a nice house, a good sari, jewelry, etc. You can amass things, right? Through economic growth, whatever, right? And then you have happiness coming from but the things they're not living, right? They're inanimate. So how much happiness can a car give you? You cannot love the car, and the car won't reciprocate. You can drive it, but it won't reciprocate. So our actual dependency on true happiness depends on how we develop relationship with people. So, therefore, the importance is of developing relationships. Now, when you want to develop a relationship, just think about it. When you meet a person, you want to develop a relationship with a person, what do you say? How are you, sir? Where are you from? Right? What do you do? How are you today? How are you building a relationship with what? Using the tongue. And as you go deeper in your relationship, talk about the family, talk about his office work, talk about his likes and dislikes, talk about various things about his personal life. Just go deeper. How does it develop? Through the use of the tongue. So you can see tongue is the one guiding force in going deeper into relationship. Therefore, the tongue can be used primarily for three things, as you can see in the slide, right? It can be used to create and build relationships. All of you have built a lot of relationships in the world. Unconsciously, we don't know, but it has all been coming because of the use of the tongue, right? So it can be used to build relationships. In a family situation, in the people where in the community we are living, it is also used for maintaining relationships. So we talk so many things. We maintain relationship, goes on, right? And that's nice. To build and maintain relationship is great, wonderful. However, the problem is the third thing. What is it saying? It can also be used to destroy. So how many of you think that is relevant to us? How many of you have had experiences of hearing how the tongue has been used to destroy relationship? Anybody? Right? How sad. But But it is important that a Vaishnava learn the right use of the tongue. We're talking about a Vaishnava lifestyle, right? And therefore, we will have to learn the art of the seminar is called as the art of devotional communication. So this entire seminar is basically to enhance our skills, our knowledge, and our innermost attitudes and mindsets towards creating more healthier relationships wherever we go, whomever we interact with. It even start with family, but it could be within the workplace, could be in a community, could be wherever you go. This skill, this knowledge, this mindset will be useful across the board in all parts of our life in a wholesome manner. Next one.
Next. So you see this beautiful picture of a ship over here, right? It's not Jaldut, but it's a huge ship, like a cruise ship or something. So do you know that this whole big ship, it has to go in some direction or the other? So which part of the ship gives direction to the ship? Yeah, but which part in the front part gives direction? Which? The rudder. Okay, the ship is huge. And how big is the rudder? Can you imagine? How big is the rudder of this huge ship? How big?
Much smaller. Pretty small.
It's just this much. It's just this much. Huh? And if I want to go from ship is going straight and I want to go right, I don't have to move the whole ship. If I just move this small rudder, the whole big ship will move in that direction. And if I want to move it left, I just have to move the rudder and the whole ship will move in that direction. I guess that's why wise people have called it relationship. We call it a relationship. So if you are talking that the direction of the ship is changed by the rudder, then if our body is like the ship, which part is compared to the rudder? The tongue. Proportionately, it is just this big. Okay, even if you say, oh, he has a very long tongue. In Hindi, we say, badi lambi zaban hai. We say, but how long? It can't be hanging outside like that, It's still just this much.
It's about 100 grams. Somebody is 70 kilos big. It's only 100 grams of tongue. But the power.
Right. So we see if, relationship is like the big ship and the rudder changes the direction. Similarly, the use and abuse of the tongue can change the whole direction of where our relationship can go. Right? So if you see, this beautiful vase was there, this porcelain vase which you get from Italy, and you are so attached to it, so precious, you are, it's like adorning your hall, and if some kid comes and breaks it, and what will happen to you? As if your heart is only broken. So what will you do? You will get the best glue in the world and you will stick it. I don't want even one piece to be wasted, so I take every small piece and I stick it. How does it look after that? I couldn't find the same vase, so it's another vase. You can stick it, but what remains still? The cracks. It never goes back to how it used to be before, right? So there's this beautiful story of this small boy, and he used to feel very angry. Always he was like, anything happened, he would get irritated and angry. So his dad would tell him, you should reduce your anger. He said, but how, Dad? How should I reduce my anger? So his dad said, okay, come to the backyard with me. He took him there, he gave him a nail and he gave him a hammer, and he said, every time you feel angry, you go and hit the nail on the backyard, Do that. Many people do that, right? Different ways to release anger. We met one devotee and she made such good bread. So we said, Mataji, how, such a soft and nice bread and all. How do you do it? And how often do you make bread? She's saying, I make bread every time I get angry with my son. I said, why? He's saying, I take out all the anger on the dough, I just start kneading it, and the more angry I am...
I can't beat my son.
The more angry I am, the softer the bread becomes, So different people take out anger in different ways. So this boy would go and hit the nail, and within some time, the whole fence was full of nails. Hmm? And his anger was going down a little bit, and he told his father, "Thank you, Dad. You gave a good solution that my anger is going down." He said, "Okay, son, very good, congrats. Now, every time you are able to control your anger, go and remove one nail from the yard." So, every time he could do that, he went and removed one nail, one nail, one nail. And after few months, all the nails were out, and he came jumping. "Yeah, I did it, I did it." He came to his father and he said, "Very, very good, my son. Let's go back to the yard and see." And when they went back, they saw that there was no nail on the backyard, but what was there? The hole still remained. Even if the nails were remained, the hole still remained. Next. So if we understand that what is the importance of speech, we are talking of speech. We know the world's two most fierce battles. Which one? What you are seeing this over here? Ramayana, Mahabharata. It happened because of the way Draupadi said, Andhe ka putra andha. He said, blind son, of a blind father. And the whole huge Mahabharata, the ghastliest battle in history, took place because of the tongue, I mean, these things don't happen just like that, but they happen to teach us the important message. So if you see that, what does speech do? Firstly, it defines a person's personality. It defines an image. You meet somebody for the first time, and just by the way they talk, you feel, "Oh, I just love talking to this person. I feel like meeting her again and again, or I feel like meeting him again and again, or hearing him again and again." Just by the way he speaks. And sometimes you meet somebody and say, "Oh, this person, please, never again. I don't feel like meeting them." What happened? You don't know about him or her before that, but the way we speak, that defines our image in the eyes of people. That important is speech. They say, no, a fool remains unidentified till he opens his mouth and speaks something. Till then you can go as an intelligent person, but once you open, then, oh, this is what you are, right? And then we said it is a means of building relationship. We spoke so much about it. How long does it take to build a relationship? How long? How long? You tell somebody, "Oh, he's my Langoti friend." Since childhood, when we were wearing diapers, we are friends, Langoti diaper friends. And so many years, say, you kept building, we are 50 years old, 60 years old, and we are still friends, right? And how long does it take to destroy a relationship? How much? In a moment. You just say something, and whatever you have invested in that relationship, within moments it gets destroyed, right? So speech is such an important means of building relationship. Third is it carries cultural relevance. You see this picture of all these saintly people sitting here. It's a village in South India known as Mattur. Mattur, no? Mattur. In that whole village, everybody speaks in Sanskrit. Everybody. So you ask question in Sanskrit, you give answer in Sanskrit, everything is in Sanskrit. So it is such a cultured place. Sometimes when you hear two people talk, like one time me and my friend were talking, and Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj was passing by, and he said, "Everything all right, Mataji?" I said, "Why?" Saying, "No, looks like you are having a big argument." We said, "Oh, no, Maharaj, that's the way we speak, Nothing like that. Is our way of talking is like that." And some people, like Bengalis, they speak with rasgulla in their mouth, Sounds so sweet, the way they talk, everything. I guess they fight also like that only. So the cultural relevance comes through speech. Also, very important thing is it generates a particular type of environment. You agree? If you are in a group of people and you see that people's tone is very high, amplitude is high, everything is, very raised, then what do you feel? What type of environment is generated? Negative environment. Do you feel like going there? No. Even children, if they come home and if the parents have had a big argument and there is what at home? Curfew. And they all will keep quiet. Shh, something's wrong today, Better we keep quiet and go into our room. It creates a particular type of environment in the house. And if you go to a party, Everybody is laughing, talking, joking. What type of environment is there? Very positive and happy environment. You feel like being in that particular place, right? Oh, this is a very happy family. You feel in my parents' house, everybody used to speak at that volume. That in the spiritual world, you say, no, every walk is a dance, every word is a song. So, like for us, every word was a fight at home. And when I got married and I went into his house, I got a culture shock. Nobody spoke above a particular decibel, and I would say, somebody talk louder. I'm the loudest person in the. Somebody talk louder. Huh? There's so much cultural difference, and in the environment, one creates a very negative environment, one creates a very positive environment, and because of this, it affects our consciousness a lot, right? Negativity makes you very down, and positivity elevates your consciousness and makes you feel good about everything. Next. So, in our life, we see that there are different categories of people we need to interact with, right? You cannot be a loner. Is man a loner? We can't be a loner. We have to interact with different categories of people. So, these are some of the categories we interact with. Number one is family. Obviously, we are all family people. Hardly anybody is a sannyasi or a brahmachari. But even if you are brahmachari or sannyasi, you live in a community. So, you are interacting with a devotee family. So, there is family whom we interact with. Then you have social circle and friends. As we said, man is a social being. You need friends. That's why all these Facebook friends and virtual friends and real friends and different varieties. But we need friends in our life to communicate with. Then we all are working. Either we are studying or working at the workplace. So, you need to interact with people at the workplace or at your school or college. Then there are people in general, which you all don't have so much here because you all only deal with gadgets, but we have in India doodh wala, kachara wala, different walas are there, sabji wala, that whom we keep interacting with for different things. You have to know how to communicate with them. Then because we are staying in a devotee community, one of the very, very relevant and important thing for us is how to communicate with devotees and how to take their communication in our life. Sometimes it's positive, negative, it all affects us in all those ways which we said, creates an environment, affects our consciousness, everything, right? So major part of our life is communication with devotees. And finally, what are we trying to do? Communicate with Krishna. How many of you all have the phone number of Krishna with you? How many? What is the phone number? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we have to learn the art. So when we are talking of the art of devotional communication, we want to learn the art of how to communicate with all these categories of people so that finally we can successfully communicate to Krishna. Unless we learn the art to communicate with all these people, we won't be able to reach that point. Next. Now we'll just do a small exercise, okay? You are with us? I will say something and you have to tell me whom I'm talking to. Suppose I get a phone call, tring tring, and I pick up the phone and I say, oh yes, sorry, it won't be done again, Thank you. Yeah, it will reach you. Whom am I talking to? My boss I'm talking to, right? Because I'm talking in such a formal way. Another call I get, tring, I pick up and say, oh, where have you been here? For so many years we haven't caught up. Let's meet up for lunch or dinner, What's up, let's catch up on life. What's happening with your family? What's happening with, whom am I talking to? My friend, right? I get a third phone call. And I pick up the phone and I say, yeah. 6. No. It's okay. Yeah. Whom am I talking to?
How did you guess it? Clap for all of you. You got it.
Right? So now our question is, who is the closest person in our life? Our boss, our friend, or our spouse? Hopefully not the boss. Right? The spouse or the family is the closest person. Then why is it that the worst part of our communication goes to the closest people we are with, whom we are supposed to be loving the most? And the most distant people get the best part of our communication. Oh, thank you. Very nice. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everything is okay. Huh? And nothing is okay at home. Nothing is okay at home.
Somebody
So-
said we behave like because the boss is paying you.
Right? You are understanding what I'm saying? That the degree of intimacy determines the degree of pain or pleasure. Is this true? If I come from Mumbai and I say two words to you, you might be able to forgive me. She's come from Bombay. She'll go back in 2 days, whatever I got to do, it doesn't hurt me so much. Mataji has come from Bombay. She must have said it in the spur of the moment and she must be disturbed or she must be tired. I'm able to let go. Why? Because I'm from Timbuktu, somewhere where you don't have to deal with me on a daily basis, right? So the degree of pain or pleasure from me will be very limited. But when a close person hurts us, it appears like this magician lady. You see this? She's not a magician. That she can make knives come out of the mouth. She's not a magician. But what is the meaning of this picture? The words coming out of her mouth, they slash you like hundreds of knives coming out from her or him. Please don't take it otherwise. It's just a picture which we got. The words coming out of the mouth slash your heart so deep that it is worse than dying. You slap somebody, it hurts. But when you speak strong words, it hurts more. You may be able to forget, but these words, they pain you for the rest of your life. This man, he is also not a magician that this big punch is coming out of his mouth, right? But look at the painful expression on her face. Can you see the furrows, the pain on her face? This is how our speech impacts the opposite person who is intimate. Again, we are saying the degree of intimacy. So ultimately, we understand that why should the closest person in our life, do they deserve the worst part of our communication or the best part of our communication? Then how come we are not able to do it? Okay, so we'll carry. Are you all with us? You're getting the thought process? Next.
So having this first part of our discussion today was to just come up to level of awareness as to how very important the entire subject is, not only for our professional life, family life, also devotional life, right? It has got so much relevance. Something which we have not thought about, something which has not been talked about, something which has not been discussed, right? And so now let's go a little bit more deeper into the second phase of our discussion, which are the types of communication. How do we really talk? How do we communicate to people? Generally, we would think of communication means use of tongue, correct? But the scientist Dr. Albert, who's a psychologist, said that only how many percentage is the communication through the words? 7%. Rather small and little unexpected, right? Only 7%? Then how does the communication take place? We are communicating constantly with people, but only is word is 70%, then what is how are we communicating beyond the words? So 38% is how much? What is 38%? Through our tone. Yeah. So as they say, it is not just what you speak, but how you speak, right? Therefore, how you speak is very important. Suppose I'm saying I meet a devotee and something happens with the devotee and I have a problem, and I think I sort of messed up with something which I did with him. What is it? Sorry, Prabhu, sorry. I'm really sorry. Really sorry. So he gets my communication. He sees my face and he sees my hands. Sorry! Sorry, bola na? Sorry. And the third time, sorry, Baba, sorry. Right? So all times I'm saying the same thing. The words are same, but it is 7% only. It is not increasing. But you're getting a different meaning Why? Because of the
Non-verbal.
tone, right? What the mother-in-law might say, or what somebody says, what the tone is. So when we are hearing people, actually we are not even hearing their words. We are hearing actually how she said it, how he said it. Did you hear he was saying that, right? So we are catching what? We are catching the vibrations through the tone, right? And beyond that, and we are not sometimes not even conscious of that, right? So we have to be conscious of the words and also the tone. And beyond that, when you're communicating, there's something beyond that. What is that? Body language, right? When I do like this, and I'm sorry, when I do sorry, when I do this, right? So my whole body is speaking, right? When eyes, when you see somebody's eyes, oh, Prabhupada's eyes, oh, there is such grace in those eyes. They're always dripping with pure love of God, right? And somebody gets angry, he's not saying anything, but you see the eyes getting red, and you see him clenching his fist, right? And tightening his jaws. You know the next thing that is going to happen, right? There's going to be a fight now, right? So even before saying the words, the body starts reacting. As adrenaline is surging in his body, right? And his muscles are getting tensed up, right? He's about to go into a fist fight, right? So the body is also, so you speak through so the entire body actually can speak. It is something like Krishna in one sense. Angani yasya sakala hendriyan vartivanti. So to some extent, Krishna has invested that potency in us also. We can speak through the entire body, right? And therefore, like for example, when you go to somebody's house, in a cultured house, the children will come and bow down to their parents or grandparents and they will touch. They won't say anything, but they will just come down and say, it's a gesture, but a gesture of so much respect and honor, veneration, right? And automatically the person who's being bowed down to, he will not say anything. He will just touch his head, and his grace, his love flows from his heart. Oh, wonderful, right? Similarly, right? So it is no words are being spoken, right? Just a gesture. 55% communication is made already, right? Nothing is spoken, right?
Next.
So now for us, this is very relevant because for us, what is non-verbal communication, this is the technical which people use in the outside world. For us, that is all capsulated by one word called as Vaishnava Shishtachar, right? Or most specifically say Sadachar. So that Sadachar is what communication is basically the most perfect way of Vaishnava Sadachar. When we follow a lifestyle where Sada Achar, Sada means good and Achar means behavior. Sadachar is being practiced by devotee, that actually is perfect communication, right? So therefore, so just by understanding communication, use of the tongue, use of the body properly, we can actually master the science of Sadachar. And in Mahaprabhu's own words, a devotee becomes more beautiful. Mahaprabhu's words are there, right? Not because he is, yes, of course, the dress is there, is important, right? But, and he has some ornaments on him also. A devotee is a ornamented person. Now this ornament is not about wearing jewelry and nice lipstick and nail polish. Well, devotees hardly do that, right? But the tilak on the body is a decoration. And even more further, deeper, the Vaishnava behavior is his abhushana, right? So how Rupa Goswami talks to Haridas Thakur, how the two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, communicate to each other, those things, how the Sad Goswami is sitting at Seva Kunj, living at Radha Damodar Mandir, how they behave, those things when we hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? So that scripture is all about the Sadachar of Vaishnavas. Is it not true? When we read this Kaviraj Goswami's big treatise, what do we learn? How devotees used to interact with each other. How is Mahaprabhu interacting with Sarvam Bhattacharya? Sarvam Bhattacharya reacting with Pratapruddha Maharaj. Pratapruddha Maharaj is reacting with Lord Chaitanya. So we see a lot of proper behavior, right? And that is what Prabhupada wanted to instruct us, that our communities of devotees should be living examples of a living CC in action, living Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? So for us, this has to start with the mind, where the mind is trained properly through knowledge, right? But what happens is the mind comes out in the term of words and deeds, manasa, vacha, and karmana, right? So if we take care of our tongue properly through knowledge, we can master these three things. Next one. Next one.
Next.
So, Jai, Adadin Mada Bhagwan ki Jai, Sita Hanuman ji ki Jai, Gonita ki Jagannath Swami ki Jai. So, taking the discussion a little further, let us be a little more analytical about this. So we learn the practical art of doing it better, right? So in a speech, there is three parts: the content, the words, the tone, and everything else, right? We talked about that already. The tone is there, body language is there, the words are there. Then second thing is the intent, content and intent. Easy to remember, content, intent, right? And third, of course, is the impact, the effect, right? So if I have this question, dear devotees, in your analysis, which is more important of the two, the content or the intent? What would you say? Huh? Intent. Anybody saying content? No? That's wonderful. We just talked about it, that the content also is. Right? Now, that is the reason. Let's explain this. This is important, right? Because as devotees, we are always trying to think, Prabhuji, whatever you do, intention is very important. But who's seeing the intention here? Do you have the power to see somebody's intention? What are you going to see? You're going to see content, right? So the outside world will judge your communication through your content, and the Lord in the heart will judge communication through your intent. And for us, in a Vyavharik world, which we live in, the real world, both are important. For a karmi, for a materialist, intention has got no relevancy. Kuch bhi bolo, he speaks anything, right? He may have that most devious, Ravan spoke the most devious words. Oh, wonderful lady, how is it that you're staying alone in this, very, very fearsome forest? And I've been hungry and tired of going around this place. Can you just give me some food to eat? And Ravan had the best of speech. He was so very convincing, so very gentle, so kind, and so very pure looking, sadhu. But we know what was the intent. Intent was most derogatory. He wanted to kidnap this lady, Mother Sita, right? So, the content is important for a materialist. And for a devotee, he wants to be having a tick mark on both sides. He wants to be tick mark on his content also. And when Krishna sees, because the world will see the content, devotees will see the content, right? And he wants to be also have a fair slate when the Lord will see him. So he has to tick mark also on the intent. However, the effect part is also, for us, it's like the after effect feedback. When I speak something, did it have the desirable effect or not? Right? It's going to make us think, oh, I think I said this, she didn't understand. Maybe I said something, I was misunderstood. So if I understand the effect, that requires a bit of empathy, of course, where we are able to understand the impact. And that is going to help us to again re-evaluate our communication. Maybe my content was not proper. Maybe my intent was also not proper. So the effect helps you to again re-evaluate and then modify. And in this how we are going to learn. We make mistakes in our communication. We may not have desirable effect. Oh, I said something which hurt her. What did I speak? Oh, I should not have spoken that way. I didn't mean it that way, or I meant it that way. So then you go back and you re-evaluate yourself, right? So it's a way of internal growth for a Vaishnava, right?
So why is this important? Because ultimately perception is reality, right? No matter how much I explain or whatever way I speak, But what way I perceive, and there's this beautiful story of Rupa Goswami, that one time Rupa Goswami was sitting in meditation, and this one uh, disabled Vaishnav passed by, who was bent in like 4-5 places, and he passed in front of Rupa Goswami when he was in meditation, and Rupa Goswami laughed. He just was laughing, and the Vaishnav felt so offended that my body is deformed, and I thought Rupa Goswami is a great person and he is laughing at my deformed body, right? And with pain, he asked Rupa Goswami that, why did you, either asked Rupa Goswami or Sanatana Goswami, that why did you laugh at me? So Rupa Goswami's meditation broke. And then he was asked that, why did you laugh at the Vaishnava? So Rupa Goswami said, I didn't laugh at the Vaishnava. In my dhyan, I saw the pastimes of Radha and Krishna was teasing Radharani, and when I saw that, I felt like laughing, that, oh, look at this Lord, how he is doing a Leela with Srimati Radharani. And I was laughing at that. I didn't even notice that the Vaishnava came. But do you understand the context? That even if you are Rupa Goswami, if you hurt a Vaishnava, knowingly or unknowingly, his dhyan, his sadhana broke. Very deep lesson. His sadhana broke. So who are we? Forget Goswami, we are all Godases only, So if we land up hurting other Vaishnavas, or the Vaishnavas who are at home, are our family members Vaishnavas? They are Vaishnavas. If we land up hurting them also, you might feel, oh, my husband, my wife, my children, I can do whatever I want. They are not your property. You think they are your property, but they are Vaishnavas. They are Krishna's property put under your care. And if you hurt them knowingly or unknowingly, it is the first offense to the holy name which we chant every day. What is the thing? To blaspheme the devotees of the Lord who have dedicated their life in propagating the holy names, right? So either we blaspheme or we offend. In any case, you are hurting the Vaishnava. So we have to understand it in the right context, that how careful I must be, because my intent might be something, my content might be something, but the desired effect was not there, because perception is reality. Next. So several times we see that there could be several factors which affect our communication. You agree? Many factors can affect our communication. So now this is not to justify our own communication with others, but it is how we can perceive somebody else's communication to us. Like for example, we take the first factor is what? The physical factor. When you come from a hot day and you are tired and it is Nirjala Ekadashi and you are fasting, and you come home and you are irritated and you are, everything is wrong, and you'll end up shouting. So, like when he used to do that, when he would come home, his mother would say, oh, come sit, eat this prasad first, cool down. But okay, it is circumstantial. Physical tiredness is there. You have noted that if you've been attending programs, Hari Parshad Prabhu's program and Gaurang Prabhu's program, and now these other two Prabhus have come, we have to attend their program, we are like exhausted beyond limit. You may land up snapping at each other more. Then during the winter when nobody comes and you are relaxed at home, many times it can happen. Why? Because the body takes over the mind. The body is tired. The body is hungry. The body is thirsty. So physical factors can affect our communication. Have you had experience of that? It happens like that, right? Emotional factor. Sometimes you come home and the wife has had a real bad day with the children. They really harass the children a lot. Or the husband comes home from office and the boss has already fired him over there, and he has had some argument with his colleague and all. So how do you expect the communication to be? You can't switch gears immediately. Whatever happened there, but everything is fine. Yes, Prabhu, come home, this. Obviously, it's just going to come out on your own person. So emotional labileness Like whatever happened, whatever didn't happen could affect our communication also, right? Mother-in-law said something, you are like that. Anybody? Hmm? Spiritual factor can also affect our communication. Can spiritual? Why should spiritual factor affect our communication? It's spiritual, should not affect. What do any example of spiritual factors affecting our communication? If our rounds are not done, hey, shh, you can't recognize why you are irritable today, because it's already 7:30 and I still have 10 rounds to go, and the pressure is building. So I don't know, in Hindi we say na dukh raha hai pet aur kut rahe sir. I don't know why I am getting irritated, but I am irritated because of some lurking reason behind me which even I might not be conscious of, but devotees sometimes they handle it. Somebody is irritated, your rounds are left, finish the rounds first, then we'll talk, like that, right? Or there is a program at home and devotees are there, so many people have done RSVP and they are expected to come, and still mat is not put yet. Where is the prasad? I told you 5 liters of milk for Abhishek, and you have put 7 liters, this and that. Spiritual reason, Vaishnavas are coming home. But could that be a cause of irritation and bad communication sometimes? Upbringing. As I was giving the example of my upbringing and his upbringing, in our house, bad communication because of bad upbringing was there, what they had seen from their parents, that's the way they talk, that's the culture from that way they came. So they can't distinguish between, what is good or bad. You just land up behaving like that just because of upbringing. And some people are really nice, sweet to talk, very accommodative, very sympathetic, empathetic, everything. Why? Because they have come from a happy, stable family life. Their communication is like that. But if I have come from a broken family where my parents were always fighting, or where that word divorce is used often, the husband and wife said, divorce, get lost to your mother's house, divorce. Psychologists have said that there is more possibility of divorce among the children of such parents, because that's what they've heard. That's what they've been brought up hearing. So how much upbringing can affect our way of communication to a great degree. Another is also Prakriti. There are 3 types of Prakriti, right? Kapha Prakriti, Vata Prakriti and Pitta Prakriti. Today Ayurveda is in thing. Many people are into Ayurveda and all. So those in Kapha Prakriti, they are always high strung. Anything happens and they are like, Pitta, sorry. Pitta Prakriti people, they are all high strung people, anything fiery. Pitta bad gaya na. Anything happens, they will just react in that way. Kapha Prakriti people are, it's okay, cool. So sometimes it's good to have a combination of that. I am Pitta, he is Kapha. So good balancing happens, right? Vata Prakriti also, like a restless mind, not stable mind, so you may end up doing bad communication. And last but not the least is also gender difference. Just the way the man communicates and the woman communicates. How does the man communicate? Yeah. Okay. Only needful talk. Only needful talk will be there. But does that mean that they don't love you, or they hate you, or they don't care for you? Not necessarily. It may mean, but not necessarily. And the women, they will, like, jabba, talk. Sometimes the man say, please, I came home for some peace. Can you keep quiet for some time? The whole day there was nobody to talk to. So you have spoken whole day in office, so now you want to keep quiet. I was quiet whole day, so now I want to talk, And women talk not necessarily for solution, but just to get close to, just to feel close. Next. So men's psychology is, men usually talk to inform in a result-oriented way rather than from emotional connectivity. For them, talking is not to have emotional connectivity. You can have a whole session on this, but we won't go into detail. But for them, things are enough. If from one car I have a Tesla now, it is great. If I was staying in an apartment, then I go into a townhouse, and then I go into a independent house. That is success for the men is in that way, However, for the women, next, Prabhu, women, they want to talk because they feel that talking will help me to get closer to people and it can help me to build relationships. So sometimes they talk about problems only to get close, not to solve the problem. They talk only to lighten their heart or to ventilate. And it may not be in a complaining mode. The man feels always complaining, This is like that is like that, this is like that is like that. But it may not be a complaint, it's just a way of ventilating. So if the men and the women can understand the basic difference in psychology, that man is like apple, woman is like orange. Both are good in their own ways. You can't say one is better than the other. So if you understand this basic difference, and if the husband doesn't talk and the woman gives that benefit of doubt that doesn't mean that he doesn't love me, but that is his love language and that is his way of communicating. And if the husband gives time for ventilation, not considering it as a waste of time, then there can be smooth relationship, because love means to spend time together. Right? For children also, how do the children translate love? I love you, huh? Now go, get lost. Then if I love somebody, I feel like spending time with the person. So that's the way they translate. Sometimes we get so busy in our life, in our profession, and even devotional life. Sometimes we may get so busy that we neglect this particular factor, which is an important thing, that we spend time together. Next, Prabhu. So main thing is we have to understand man and woman are one and different simultaneously. Achintya bheda bheda tattva. Right? So they are one, but they have been made different by the Lord. So just simple understanding of each other's differences could improve the communication channel between both of us.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so in the first few slides, if you remember, we said that speech affects consciousness. Correct? Speech is a powerful way of modulating and affecting a person's consciousness. Right? So this slide will help us to go a little bit deeper on that dimension. So when we are all, of course, human beings here, so what is subhuman then? When we are affected by the lower modes, right, and the words become foul or offensive or very critical, some people may have vulgar. Now, I'm not talking necessarily of devotees, so please don't take in that sense. But in general, when the content of the speech is offensive, critical, based on vulgarity, obscenity, things like that, right? Obscenity is being spoken about, right? Bad words are spoken about. All this is considered as, is it human communication? No. It is not human. It is not a civilized communication. It is called as because the content is bad and the intent also is equally bad, right? So therefore, when both are bad, it becomes, you are no longer actually a human being. Your consciousness has dropped. From a human being, it has dropped to subhuman consciousness, right? Of course, we may remember that even those who are practice of Krishna consciousness may get affected, because we don't have always constant modes. We are not always in the mode of goodness. We get affected by passion. We get affected by ignorance. Sometimes we are in the morning, we are in the mode of goodness. Chanting is over. Daytime may be different. Nighttime may be different. Correct? So we all vacillate. It is not constant. In fact, it is said each mode competes with the other one to get to capture it. The goodness is competing, Rajagun is capturing, and he wants to put Satagun down, and Rajagun wants to dominate. So there is always a competition between three modes. So if the mode of ignorance will win, then immediately affect our consciousness, and words can become very, very derogatory. Right? It is hoped that our sadhana bhakti, our association, our reading of scripture, our process of devotional practices will at least keep us floating. It will not keep us floating on the human platform. What is human platform? When the words are, we are modest in our words. Their words are more refined. Our vocabulary is more refined, right? Then it is more genuine, right? It is accompanied by emotion which communicate politeness, which communicate some courteousness is there, right? So if you remember Prabhupada saying this, when Prabhupada asked by the journalist that how do you know who's your devotee in ISKCON, who's the follower, what did Prabhupada say? What did he say? Huh?
He's a perfect gentleman.
Yeah, so let's not forget that, right? It's one line answer, but it means a lot to us. Our Acharya thought that, his followers, we are all Prabhupada's followers, we are his grand disciples, right? Prabhupada did not talk about chanting Hare, my followers will be somebody who's always chanting Hare Krishna. He didn't say that. He will always have kanti and tilak on his forehead. He didn't say that. Men will have dhoti kurta and women will have sari and cover their head. He didn't say that. He didn't say anything external. What did he say? They'll be like perfect gentlemen and gentle ladies. Right? Therefore, a gentleman is a person who conducts his life on the level of the mode of goodness. You cannot be on the tamagun and be a gentleman. It's not possible. You have to be in the mode of goodness to be really gentlemanly. So that's the second level we are aspiring to be at least remaining at most of the time, if not all the time. Right? Where we speak courteously, we know what to speak, how much to speak, when to speak. So this way about, that means intelligence is working. It is not just raw, unfiltered communication coming out. Right? There is some sort of a barrier to expressing things in a more refined manner. That is level of, so there the content will be, what is the content here? Good content. Intent, we may still be work in progress, but intent is often good, but we can give some room for improvement. So we are saying that intent could be variable. Now, that's what we want to aspire for. But however, that is not the perfection of communication. It is like Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama communication. There are three levels in everything, right? There are devotees on a level of Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, right? There are dancers on a mode of Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, right? Everything is on this level. The Sanskrit teacher is also, right? So here also communication also can be at what is Uttam communication, right? Look at that. The first thing is a Vaishnava. How many of you sitting in this room think we are Vaishnavas? Now, no one will open there. We will not raise our hands now because we are being challenged here, right? But if I said, yeah, I practice and I'm a Vaishnava. We all are Vaishnavas, right? So I don't want to mean to say something like that. But we are all practicing to become Vaishnava, right? So what is our goal? What is this journey? This seminar, my dear friends, is not a one-time thing like, okay, we learned it and, okay, I know about Ramayana, what Vali is and what Sugriva is. So it's not knowledge giving. This is a transformative seminar. So we need to take it more deeply than just information, right? If we are going to be understanding from the previous discussion the vitality and urgency and imperativeness of the value of understanding speech and how it affects our consciousness, then we should understand that this is our goal. That means we will never speak words which will hurt somebody. And why is that? Why is that so important? It's a very important reason, right? Because Krishna says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sadhunam Hridayam Mahyam. Sadhunam Hridayam tu aham. Madanyatena janati naham tebhyog managapi. Right? I am always residing where? He said, Naam tishtame Vaikunthe. My address is not Vaikuntha. Yoginam Hridayeshuva. No. Yogis, I'm not with the yogis. Yatra Gayanti Mad Bhakta. Right? So the devotee is always chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord resides where? Tomar Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram. The Lord's favorite place to stay in this world is in the heart of his dear devotees. That's his favorite place, where he is welcomed, where he is worshipped on the altar of their hearts. So when we speak hurtful words, like the lady who she was coming out with daggers, if we happen to unfortunately speak such words, they will pierce the heart of the devotee. And who gets hurt? Two people get hurt. The devotee gets hurt and also the Lord gets severely hurt. The devotee may forgive, the Lord may not forgive. May not forgive. And what a serious problem is that, right? And therefore, our aspiration is to never speak words that hurt, because, as they say, what goes around comes around. If you give pain, what will happen? You will get pain. If you give love and respect, you will get love and respect. What do you want in a life? Your choice of your words and your behavior will decide what you will get. How important is that? Words are free from envy. The only reason Krishna spoke to Arjuna and not to anybody else is because you are free from envy. He was spoken to so many people. But his absence of enviousness was his primary qualification. Therefore, he is considered the Param Vaishnava, not just Vaishnava, Param Vaishnava. Right? And therefore, we as in our attempt to move on with life in our Vaishnava culture, we'll have to also make an attempt where we never speak enviously to anybody about anybody. Devotee means, by definition, free from envy. It's such a powerful anartha. Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy and illusion. That envy has brought us to this material world. Is it not true? Gita says so. That envy will keep us here in the material world till we give it up. But we can only give up envy when we come to the level of first class Vaishnava communication. So here, his words are always, he's always glorifying. He's always glorifying, full of appreciation. I was talking some while ago about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? What do we see Mahaprabhu's behavior? Kaviraj Goswami says, when he's glorifying Haridas Thakur, what does it say? Glorifying with 5 mouths, right? And when Mahaprabhu is glorifying Vasudeva Datta, glorifying with 1,000 mouths. That is what Mahaprabhu's behavior is showing, right? His mouth, his tongue would never tire glorifying. Similarly, our tongue should never tire. Therefore, my dear devotees, this sloka for all of us in communication is this one. Which one? Which one? Machita Madgat. Let us stand this together. This is a favorite sloka for all the devotees. This is part of the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita. Right? This sloka, if you just take it to heart, not for recitation, not for by-hearting, right? But for actually living that sloka. That is the solution to the communication problem of this world. Right? All problems solved in just one sloka. Krishna is so powerful. In one sloka, he can just give the complete solution. Let us fold our hands, dear devotees. Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayantascha Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So, this verse says when devotees meet, what do? There you are. Here you are. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening and conversing about whom?
Me.
You know that Mataji, she's elderly. That Prabhuji, don't talk about him. You know that GBC was there. And that Guru now. When we meet, what do we talk about? The big problem for all of us, dear devotees, which we want to get over is the enemy of gossip. Right? Ask yourself, let's ask this question to ourselves. What is more dear to us, gossip or Harikatha? Good. Yeah, that's perfect. Harikatha is more attractive, it's perfect, right? But sometimes gossip becomes very attractive. Aisa kya? Oh, really? What else? Oh no, then I'll tell you something more. Sit down, I'll tell you. So since you're interested, I have got more details about the whole scandal which is there, right? So on internet, so much of prajalpa. On WhatsApp, so much of prajalpa. When devotees meet, so much of prajalpa. Our life gets engulfed like a tsunami of prajalpa. Right? What about the sloka which Krishna is talking about? Therefore, gossip is the most powerful enemy of Maya to destroy our enthusiasm for bhakti. We have not probably taken this seriously, but the most powerful weapon which Maya has got to destroy our utsaha, we say utsaha nishcha dhairas, right? But you will destroy your utsaha for bhakti simply if you engage in prajalpa. And that happens so innocuously, we hardly even realize that I'm gossiping. We think, oh, we are talking about, like, इतना तो बात करना चाहिए ना, अभी के ड्यूटी को थोड़े कहा ध्रुव महाराज, प्रहलाद महाराज, विष्णुदेव, कितना बात करेगा ध्रुव प्रहलाद के बारे में? तिरनावर्ता, मरीचा, सुबाहु, कितना बात करेगा उसके बारे में? Something else I should talk about. Let's talk about something more juicy. Right? So that becomes gossip. But it's a dangerous enemy. Right? There can be whole discussion on prajalpa. In Bhakti Aloka, there is a whole chapter on prajalpa. Right? So we won't go through all those details, but enough to suffice to say over here that we need to, you can eliminate the tendency for gossiping by glorifying. We can't remove the negative, but add more positive. So glorify Vaishnavas, glorify the deities, glorify and appreciate devotees. Right? And the best glorification is, of course, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Right. So this slide should be taken. Yeah, just a minute before I.
Yeah, you can put it on.
This slide, which we talked about, should be like a action plan for us. Let's take this slide seriously. For me, the first part of subhuman communication should be completely, even in my worst provocation, we can get provoked because we are not pure. We can get provoked. But I am provoked, I will not speak bad words. I will not become offensive, and I will not speak words which are crazy. The altar of the tongue is a place for the holy name to be vibrated. When you chant Hare Krishna mantra or sing the nice bhajans of the holy name, the Lord descends on the tongue and dances, it is said. Right? However, can I allow that same tongue to become the altar of offensive, foul words? Right, next one.
So as we were discussing, that our speech is also affected by the modes which we are in, right? 3 modes which govern all of us: mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. So when we are becoming a devotee, on which mode are we trying to come? More than goodness, Shuddha Sattva, right? We are aiming to come on the level of Shuddha Sattva. Is it easy? That is why Prabhupada said that at least come to the level of mode of goodness first. That will be the springboard or the stepping stone which will help us to go above the 3 modes of material nature and come on the level of Shuddha Sattva. But in our conditioned state, that is a very utopian idea for us, right? So at least let us understand that if my speech and my communication, through that at least I can become more conscious as one of the indicators of what is my mode. As I say, that the greatness of a devotee is seen by how he deals and responds in provoking situations. Right? Usually what happens, we'll say, you don't understand, why I spoke this. Because he said that. Or because she's always provoking me. What to do? I get helpless. Even though I don't want to say so many things, I say that. How many of us put the onus on the opposite person? How many of us? Most of us. Right? We'll say, I am not like that, but they made me like that. I became because of them. Is it not? We say, but how can we? What do you mean? I mean to say, how much can we get away by using this particular justification, right? Suppose in India we have the HSBC bank or the ICICI bank. I join the bank, and I behave in a bad way. So people will tell me, oh, HSBC guy has behaved like this, because I am not I am HSBC bank ka representative. I am an employee. So what do we become when we become Vaishnavas? We don't remain we. The moment you say something, you will say, devotee hokar. See this ISKCON devotees. This is the way they behave. First thing they will tell you is that, whose disciple are you? Which movement you belong to? From where you have come? Which temple you are from? Immediately they will not see, oh, you are Mr. such and such Das or such and such Dasi. Or nobody knows us. We are insignificant people. But because we are insignificant, but we represent the very significant people. We represent very significant institute. So we have to be even more conscious. We talk of conscious eating, right? Everybody is so diet conscious. Some of us are vegans, some of us are calorie conscious, that we calculate and we have only so much calories in a day. Everything we are just so conscious in eating. But we are least conscious in the way we speak. In the beginning, it may start like that. When you are building a relationship, you are trying to be at the best, this, but how long does it last? We take each other for granted then. And we'll end up behaving like Bhagavad Gita as it is. In our as it is form, we just start coming out. So when we are in the mode of ignorance, when we speak something, we neither think about what we are speaking before or after speaking also. And what do we say? I don't care. You get it? I am a very straightforward person. Whatever I feel, I just tell. How many of us feel proud of being such people? How many of us feel? We feel sometimes that I don't like to talk behind the back. Whatever I feel, no, I just speak. It's good you don't speak behind the back, but can you just speak anything? There has to be what? Filters. Do you just drink any water without filtration? Does sound come without filtration? Do you just have any food without filtration? Filtration is necessary. Then how come we don't filter our thoughts and our speech? When some thought has come, do I have to vomit it out always? Do I have to? Don't we think that we have to think that I'm supposed to be a Vaishnava? At least saying I'm supposed to be a Vaishnava, right? One time I was at the in the market with a fruit person, and somebody said something. I felt like blaring up, and then I said, oh no, people will watch that, she has tilak on. She has tilak on, she has kanti on, and she's shouting at this guy. So I had to control. Some good sense prevailed on me at that time, right? But it doesn't always happen. But we have to understand that if we just do without neither thinking before or after, then it is communication in the mode of, because the message that goes is, I don't care how you feel. This is how I feel, and I'm going to tell it to you. Right? Because we belong to the I generation. What I feel is important. What you feel, go to hell. It doesn't matter to me how you feel. So that is communication in the mode of ignorance. Communication in the mode of passion is, at least after saying you regret, I shouldn't have said this, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said this. But I said it. But I at least regret. Better than mode of ignorance is mode of passion. But the best is mode of goodness, as we said. Before you are going to say something, think about it. Right? Now somebody asked a question that if you have to think only and talk at home also, then what's the difference between outsiders and insiders? Everything I have to keep thinking. I have to weigh and think and do. You all think like that? Okay, what's the freeness? With our own people, so we can be free, na? Why should I think so much and speak? Valid question, right? But we are not talking of that type of thing. When B.V. Puri Maharaj, he was 90 plus, 95, 96 years old, and he was lying in bed and he could hardly raise his eyebrows, I mean his eyelids. And some devotees came to meet, and his disciples were around him. He was not even eating much, not even talking much. And when they said that, Fala Fala Maharaj has come to meet you, so immediately he just, without opening his eyes, he told the devotees who came to give the message, Prasad Dibo, did you give prasad to them? Now he must have not had prasad for so many days and he was not conscious of anything. But serving Vaishnavas had become a unconscious habit. So we have, conscious competence, unconscious competence, those things, right, which we have. So it had become so unconscious habit of his that he didn't have to think that, oh, I have to serve. So Vaishnav is one who unconsciously, he doesn't have to think that this is insider, this is outsider. By nature only, automatically he lands up being good only. He thinks before he speaks automatically. He just doesn't say it. He doesn't have to consciously think about it. Ke, with my family, so I can be what I am. But what I am is good only. Are you getting the point? What I am is good only. So Vaishnav, there is a change outside and inside. For you may attend communication seminars in the outside Karmi world, and they will teach some skills. Materialists teach skills. But when you get angry, are you going to try to apply that formula? 1 minute. Which formula? This formula I was supposed to apply here. Doesn't happen like that, right? But Vaishnav communication seminar is what? Not about skills and information, but about transformation. When I get transformed from within and I get convinced of the importance of something, then I naturally land up behaving in a particular way. I don't have to apply formulas. I don't have to do that because there has been a deep cleansing from within my heart. Right? There is superficial cleaning and there is deep cleaning. You may do daily cleaning, but around Diwali or Janmashtami you will do deep cleaning, which makes it nice. So process of bhakti is like that. By doing our sadhana, we are landing up doing what? Deep cleaning. You understanding what I am saying? So let us understand the importance of this, that unless our sadhana doesn't translate into sadachar, our sadhana has very little effect. But if we want to go on fast track bhakti, then we have to learn this art. So today we took part 1 of the seminar. Now tomorrow, Prabhuji, next. Today we understood that this is the importance of speech and this and that. Now tomorrow we will discuss about the tools. Okay, I understood my communication is bad or good or whatever. So if it is bad, then how do I improve it? So tomorrow we will take 3-4 subtitles. One is we will take unhealthy, ineffective communication. How to reduce it. You see those arrows down? How do I reduce unhealthy, ineffective communication? We will learn that. How to reduce that. And I will learn how to, you see those white arrows coming up? How to increase healthy, effective communication. We will discuss about some communication enhancers. Some tips on communication enhancers, and we will also talk about damage repair mechanism. Suppose I have already communicated bad. Is there anything we can do about it, right? Because it's not that we are just newborn people. Already we might have broken some relationships because of that. So how do I do damage repair mechanism? So these few things we will discuss tomorrow. Is that okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji, thank you for a wonderful seminar. So I have a question. So you said that we need filters to communicate properly. So, but when we teach our kids, we teach them to be honest. And then since young age, we tell them that you should be honest, you should tell whatever is happening. So even though they are older, like let's say my daughter is 15 years old and then she's very honest. So when she tells me, when she talks to me, it hurts me. But the way she communicates is hurting me, but whatever she's telling is truth. So she doesn't know how to do filters. So how do people understand when to use filters and where to use filters?
How are you perceiving? As she said, the word perception is to be seen as reality. Now she may be speaking those words which you just mentioned, being honest. But how are you perceiving it? You're perceiving it as a necessary part of communication, right? For self-improvement, for self-growth, right? If you are perceiving that it is a positive feedback I'm getting from someone whom I love, someone who loves me and someone whom I love. So there's a relation of love, right? And therefore it is not being spoken out of hate or malice or grudge, right? It's spoken as a means of favorable communication. When you perceive it in that way, right, it is, you will see it that I need to make a change in this, right? Therefore it's still very, very positive.
Also, when I'm talking about communication filter, I'm not talking of saying lies. It's not that, I feel something and I'm saying something else. I can say the same thing, but it's how, we are just learning how to communicate the truth. One way of communicating the truth is, as you say, hey, blind man, move aside, In Hindi we say, andhe, hat ja, idhar se. That's a way of communicating. Or as, but another way of saying is, I don't know, you all understand Hindi? Anyway, forget. कि आपकी आँखों की रोशनी कैसे चली गई? I can call you अंधे, or I can ask this way, right? It's the same thing I am communicating, but in a better way. So when we are talking of art of devotional communication, it is how to communicate. What is our mood to communicate? Not that we say lies, because Krishna always said Satyam Priyam Hitam. We will come to that tomorrow. That real speech is what? When it is Satyam, it is truthful, it is Priyam, it is palatable, and it is Hitam, it is beneficial for the person. So obviously we are not telling our children, they have to be honest, but you have to still teach them, okay, you should learn how to communicate. Tomorrow if the child grows up and tells the same way, same thing she told you to her mother-in-law, she is not going to understand it the way you are understanding, because there is more love for you. So if we don't teach our children that we are not telling you to lie, but communicate in a better way.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. So here is my question, that when we are in temple or when we are with the other devotees or in the preaching sessions, we speak so nicely, and when we are in good mood, we know that our partner is also a very good devotee, but why we forget that at home many times, and with over small things, and suddenly we speak with anger.
It's the whole thing we discussed was about that there could be different factors affecting, and the main thing is we take our own people for granted, right? With outsiders you are scared that the relationship will break, but with insiders you feel ab kahan jayenge. There was this one gentleman who used to come to temple every day. He used to come every day to temple. So the temple devotees told that, every day you are coming, why don't you take initiation and join full time? So I said, nah, I will never make that mistake. I have seen how you treat outsiders, so nicely, so gently. But the moment they become inside devotees, you neglect them, you don't talk, very politely, or you may not go out of the way to be very nice. So I'd rather have the good part of everything. So people are observing us, how we are doing. So it's simply because that person coming till you think he's a newcomer, you are very good. But once he is inside, then you feel, ab kahan jayega? Same way husband wife, shadi ke pehle you are like so sweet and everything, and after marriage Rudra avatar comes out. Then what happened? Because you feel care now where they are going to go. Today you can't think that they can go still, but to one extent we think, okay, now what I have to try to be good. This is the way I am, unfiltered me.
Therefore, when the fact that you are talking about this is a good observation. So we start with this observation first, right? That we have been what they call as unconscious incompetence. We were not even unconscious that I'm not competent in my communication with my loved one. He's very dear to me, my husband, but I'm talking like this, right? So the classroom, like our temple room, is a classroom. And here we are learning, we are hearing, we are understanding. Hopefully we are making a resolution that I will practice this. And what is our home then? Our home is our practice ground. Right? Like we have a theory here. So a home is such a special place for us. Right? It allows us to really put into practice all the beautiful lessons we learn from our holy scriptures in this beautiful temple. Right? So Krishna is so kind that he doesn't allow the knowledge to remain at the level of the brain. He allows it to come at the level of action. And that's what family is all about. This a family means a place where charity begins at home. So we learn the art of understanding how I have to be more respectful and more sensitive. Sensitive because, it will still hurt. If I'm speaking rudely or, rashly because of being insensitive, it will still hurt. Right? So let us all learn this art of practicing, the art of better communication with our loved ones.
It's basically an awareness seminar which we are doing. Nothing so much new what we are talking of. We know it, but just to become more conscious that this happens, that happens. So what I should be little careful of.
I have one more question. So when you spoke about different factors, and at the same time, both the sides factors are clashing, like
both are hungry, both are exhausted, like that.
Yes. So it might be any emotionally breakdown, anything means like for both the sides. Then how to deal with that?
Again, the same thing, Mataji. See, there is something. There is behavior at three levels. At the level of the brain, at the level of the mind, at the level of the heart. Okay? So, one is the knowledge, other is a skill, and third is the attitude or a mindset. Attitude, deep inside. So, at least we are hoping that by the art of purification, the moment we start behaving the way you are talking about, where we are off guard, we become off guard because some other factor has overwhelmed us. Tiredness, exhaustion, sleeplessness, stress of children's exams could be, so many physical factors could be there, emotional factors could be there, right? The moment that happens, we don't allow the mind to take over our behavior. A devotee works through his intelligence, right? Our process of sadhana bhakti is called as buddhi yoga, where we work into our lives through what is called as purified intelligence. The moment something happens, like where a breakdown takes place in our behavior or immediately if we have been sufficiently purified by good sadhana, the intelligence kicks in. Hey, what is this? How are you talking? Is it way to talk? You are in a weak moment now. Relax. Trace your steps back and again behave with a sense of discrimination. So buddhi means discrimination, mind means mindlessness. He just does, just bolta hai, kuch bhi karega, right? But my intelligence means we are power of discrimination. So we are hoping that as we get more and more purified, we will not become slaves of our mind when it gives way, but we will still be able to control by the power of good, purified intelligence. Correct?
Hare Krishna.
One more last question. We are almost reaching 9:30.
Only Mataji is asking questions.
Prabhu, as you are saying, does chanting help you with getting there?
Does you asking that?
Yeah.
It is one of the most powerful ways of reaching there, Mataji. Right? So, again, this can be a long answer, but the main thing is we don't chant consciously. Most of us chant, I'm talking of myself, maybe more, we chant to complete our rounds because we have taken a vow. We chant so that our rounds are over, right? But actually, when we chant with consciousness that this is Radha and Krishna in the holy name, right? They're descended in the holy name. When we're conscious of that, that consciousness in chanting will touch deeply our soul. That is only a brain activity. It's out of the brain, no? Therefore, it is only coming like a mechanical thing, right? The moment we become conscious, it starts purifying our mind. And we start having emotions, it goes into our heart, right? So chanting is the process. And that's our hope. That's our hope, that we chant better and the tongue will become purified. Therefore, Prabhupada said this, right? Rupa Goswami says, Athasya Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahayam indriyay sivanokhe hi jivadav. That our bhakti process Swayameva Spurati Yadha. Swayameva, automatically, spontaneously, right? It will happen. What? Bhakti will erupt from our heart. Spurati, erupt. It will manifest only by the power of using the tongue in Krishna's service. How do you use the tongue in Krishna's service? Two things: eating prasadam and chanting Hare Krishna. We usually focus on the
Prashad.
that is our favorite activity, right? At 9:30 now all of us will have prasad now, right? But this activity is fraught with this danger of becoming mechanistic, right? So if we can work on that, we will reach these goals much more faster.
Okay, Prabhu. So part 2 will be tomorrow. Today was the surfacing of the issue. Tomorrow will be the solutions.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, as you know, our movement ISKCON is primarily consisting of Grihasthas. Almost 99% of the movement is consisting of the householders. But what you primarily see on the Vyasasana is the brahmacharis and the sannyasis. So as at some point of time, the movement was able to realize that we need more grihasthas to give a practical takeaways, right? So what Prabhuji and Mataji shared is something we all might have been experiencing but never realized it. So they both have been doing the grihastha counseling over 22 plus years with hundreds plus of grihasthas and traveling all over the world. Primarily they were focused on India, because in India there is kind of this system of counselee and mentor-mentee, but North America or the other parts of the world doesn't have it. So they have been entrusted with this responsibility of traveling to North America, and for the past 1 month they have been traveling very extensively, and they are just staying in one place not less than 1 or 2 days. So they have been extensive travel, and in spite of that they were able to enlighten us. So just a brief introduction about both of them. His Grace Dwarkadesh Prabhu is doctor by profession. He is the head of department of the Bhaktivedanta Hospital and Research Center in Mumbai. He is one of the founding member and trustee. So as you know, he also I mean, they both have been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 33, 35 plus years kind of experience they have. They have seen the ups and downs of our movement and staying strong as a sadhaka, staying strong as the grihasthas, and that's where they have been interested to enlighten all of us. So let's express our gratitude and thank both of them by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. And before we do that, they both of them asked me like, how should we have this seminar, right? It can be didactic, means it can be more instructional, or it can be more interactive. So I was not sure how many. So the humble request to all of you, those who are watching online, if you can come tomorrow in person and attend it, it can be more interactive, because tomorrow we're going to talk about the solution part of it. So humble request, it can be in person, and it can be more effective being a Grihastha based community. So let's express our gratitude and thank them by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Hare Krishna. Jai Hare Krishna.
Sanjan, very nice to meet you. It was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm like, all of us know it, but